All right, guys, welcome back to the first ever Ethan Lemler talk show. I'm Ethan, your host, and today, starting off, we're going to have our marble racing segment with Ryder and Shrieker. So I'm
Howdy.
really excited about this one. We're just going to have to see how this goes. Coming up, as I said before, we're starting off with marble racing. We're going to have a health segment. We're going to have a weird sports segment, uncommon sports, and more. So just stay in here. We're going to really excited. So let's start off here with marble racing. All right, guys. New thing starting this season. This real thing. I don't know how to say it. They partnered with an actual company. It's really exciting. What do you guys think about it?
So overall, I got a really cool vibe from it. So yeah, as you said, they actually partnered with the company. Envision Virgin Racing is a racing team based in the UK, and they actually race in Formula E. Hence, why the season is called Formula E Racing. Sure, you have anything to add about that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I'm really interested that now that Marble Racing has a sponsor, I'm really interested to see what possibilities we have now that we again have a sponsor to see what we can do.
Uh, yeah, totally. And it's like I think it's just really cool. The intro, just everything seems really professional right now.
Mhm.
Some of the teams that we have that I think are really cool to showcase. We have an Audi team. We have a BMW team. DS Tachita, a relatively new team. Envision Virgin Racing. Geox Dragon and Mahindra Racing. Shrieker has 6 more teams for you.
Yep, so we have Mercedes-Benz, Neo 333, Nissan E-Dams, Panasonic Jaguar Racing, Tag Heuer Porsche, and Rocket Venturi Racing.
And I think they're all really cool teams overall. They kind of come from all around Europe, and they're all kind of culminated into this one kind of like racing segment and racing organization called Marbula E that I talked about earlier. And we have two commentators in the races, which are sorry, actually just one, Jack Nichols. And the first race we'll be talking about in this segment will be the Paris one, which is called the Envision Virgin Racing Marbula E Gels Marble E Prix. And we also have 2 rounds in this run, and Shriek will talk to you about the first round.
Right.
Okay, so the first round is a qualification round. So basically what this means is depending on your position in this round, this is what decides how far forward or back you'll be placed to start the second actually scored round. So our first round for the Paris circuit, we have Venturi coming in at first, Mercedes in second, Neo in third, Tachita fourth, Porsche fifth, Mahindra sixth, and Ryder can go from there.
Yeah, and then we had Dragon coming in at 7th, Audi finishing in 8th. We got Nissan. I mean, I drive a Nissan, so like kind of like repping there. BMW, Jaguar, and Envision coming in last. Really interesting placement from Envision, by the way. I really thought they were gonna do a much better, Shrieker. After after the last season they had, I'm not sure. I thought they were gonna do a little bit better than this year, but seems a little bit like last season. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about that?
So about Venturi, last season, I mean, this season I was really proud to see them come in at first, especially in their first round on the Paris circuit, because last season Venturi, they had a really bad start to the season. They had a really bad end to the season. Middle of their season was actually also terrible. So overall, a very bad season.
Just an overall bad season right there.
Yep.
Oh yeah, going back to what I said about Envision, by the way, I completely forgot about Venturi because they're coming
Yeah.
first, and that's a big win for them this for the qualifying for them. But Envision really kind of like dropping off. I really thought they were gonna do a lot better than how they did. Just really surprising for me. And we're gonna do this head of the championship round, which was really interesting because we saw a little bit of switch up in here and there. So we had the first number one winner, which was Mercedes Benz, and I thought that was a really interesting win because overall, just kind of like all kind of came together for them. They had really good smooth transitions between turns, and there's a big ramp that was huge in this Paris circuit. Really, really big factor. And Mercedes really just like kind of like rocked this course and just kind of like got through that and shot through the course. Shrika, how
All
you feel
right.
about
What is?
that? Oh my bad.
Let me just. Yeah. So from this entire first circuit, what was your biggest takeaway from this entire race?
Shriek, you go first.
Okay, so my biggest takeaway is that not only does the race depend on the marble itself, but it also depends on the circuit quite a bit because you see here in the Paris circuit, which is a recreation of the original Paris circuit from season one. You know, there's these huge ramps, lots of turns, and lots of downhill slopes. So what this means is that if your marble can't, you know, ramps add tons of uncertainties into the race and it can completely change up the tempo of the race. So if you come off a slope, if you come off a slope into a ramp very poorly and you hit the ramp dead on, your momentum is completely lost and that can almost decide the whole fate of the race. Ryder?
Totally. And I thought, as I said earlier, Mercedes handled that very well. I actually talked to Porsche before the race, and they thought they were going to do really well. They thought they were actually going to hit the ramp. They thought they knew exactly what was going on. Thought they were going to nail it, everything. They went from fourth in the qualifying to 10th overall in the championship race, which I found incredibly surprising and really poor performance from Porsche there.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ethan, you can go.
No, you can go.
Okay, so also Envision stated in a press meeting before the race that they were expecting to come in at first. So this is really surprising because you know you see them coming in last place in their first round, which is the qualification, which already gives them a disadvantage for the second round of Paris, and then they come in at last place again. Honestly, I'm really disappointed. I hope Envision can really pick up their game.
Yeah.
Before we go any farther here, I'd just like to tell everybody that this marble racing is on Jelly's marbles on YouTube. We will link that down below so you guys can go watch all these races that our analysts are talking about.
So yeah, and as Ethan said, really cool channel. Just overall, just a cool place to go see some sports that you won't usually see. And I think we're gonna. Is it okay if we head on to our second race of the segment?
Yeah, for sure.
Streaker, you can introduce that one.
Okay, so coming in first round of Seal, which is again a qualifying round, we have Dragon with coming in with a time of 18.7, Neo 18.8, BMW 19.13, Kachida 19.32, Mahindra 19.33, and Envision 19.38.
Yeah, and then we got Nissan coming in 1992. Once again, that's my rep. Then we got 1997 for the Jaguar. Mercedes coming in ninth for qualification with 2008, which was really unprecedented because they came in first in that Paris original race. We had Audi coming in at 2013, a Porsche with a 2053, and a Venturi with a 28 time, which all those kind of everything was really mixed up this race. Kind of threw in a couple more wrenches into this. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, you know, it brings it back to the point that again, it's the circuit is really important because you see, as we change the circuits, the results are drastically changed. We see Envision coming up to number 6, which I'm really proud about. I hope they can keep that lead in the second round of Seal. Sorry, excuse me.
What was different between number 2 and 1? Circuit 2 and circuit 1.
Oh, so yeah, you just kind of had overall kind of a different feel. I think there's still a couple turns, and I think they might have had a couple other just like interesting, just like obstacles in there. But overall, Seal was just a really interesting race. Kind of see if there's any consistency coming from the marbles. We had a couple press conferences beforehand from a couple marble racing teams, especially after that first qualification race. Jaguar seems really confident. Just because they thought even though they came in 8th, which I thought was really interesting. They said they had a really good idea of what they wanted to do in that second race, and after that, we'll see how they actually did overall.
So now going into the actual races after the qualifying. So we have Jaguar, who came in first, surprisingly, Porsche second, Mercedes third, Mahindra fourth, Neo in fifth, and Venturi in sixth.
Then we got the bottom half of this ladder. We got Techeetah, Audi, Dragon, BMW, Nissan, and Envision. Once again, an interesting finish by Envision coming in last place. That press
Again.
conference didn't make too much of a difference, and you are completely right. It does not make any sense at all to me how they are coming in last once again in this race.
Watching
Yeah.
this race, I thought Envision would do good after looking at their first round in CL, but again they came in 12th. I was really angry. I almost broke my TV, but yeah, it's all good now.
So
there's a
what you
lot.
see here is the difference in it from qualifying to what I'm looking at the standings right now, from qualifying to the second round, is Dragon comes in first place in qualifying, ends up in 9th place. Neo, 2nd to 5th. BMW, 3rd to 10th. So that's really interesting. What do you guys have to think about that one?
Yeah, it as Shrieker said, I think he mentioned earlier, it's a lot about it's not about the marble as much as the track, and a lot of times different tracks allow different marbles to perform differently. A lot of times you'll see that, like a good example of that was BMW. Sometimes especially because they're at the front in that qualification area, and then at the end it kind of came to 9th. It's just one of those things. They probably did not perform very well at the front. They're better at kind of navigating that traffic and working their way forward rather than just like a straight shot from the get-go.
Yeah, and again, so in the first round of Seal, you see Venturi coming in at 12th, which means that, like Ryder said, they're going to have to navigate the traffic and try and make it all the way up to the front, because we see Venturi doing really well in the Paris circuit. But once we get to the Seal circuit, now that they're towards the back and they have to navigate traffic, obviously they're not as good as that. So they end up in 6th in the second round, which counts for the championship. And we see Mercedes, who is, and I believe is an overall good team, because they come in 9th in the qualification round, which placed them towards the back half of the chain. And they're able to navigate traffic and come in up to 3rd, which I believe makes them a really overall strong team.
Yeah, and it's super consistent overall. And I think you kind of see that. It's played by the championship standings at the end of the second race. Shrieker, can you read through them?
Yeah, so the
One more,
final.
hold on, Shrieker. Before you do that, slight correction. Pronounce Seoul. Just to let you know. Doesn't really
That was
matter.
my bad. Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so final championship standings. We have Mercedes at 40, Venturi at 26, Jaguar at 25, Neo at 20, Porsche at 19, and Mahindra at 18.
And as I once again finish off the lower half of these standings, you got BMW with 16, Dragon at 14, so Cheetah at 14. So that's a tie. That's a tie at 8 for 8th right now. And then at 10th you got Audi at 8, Nissan at 2, and Envision coming in last place with 0 points.
0 points. Wow. All right. So before we let you go, I just want to know who are your favorites? Who do you think's going to win it all this year?
All right. So, in my personal opinion, I think Mercedes and Venturi are probably the best odds right now. Mercedes looking really consistent right now, able to navigate courses really quickly with smooth transitions and really just good at navigating several different obstacles. While Venturi, on the other hand, might not be as good as handling obstacles, but in a press conference they said they were working on accelerations on straight shots and just gaining speed overall.
Shrieker?
Personally, I believe that Envision is going to come in and clutch and get the win towards the end. Obviously they had a really bad start to the season. We see them at 0 points, which, got me really angry. But, Venturi had a really bad season last year, and this year they're first. So maybe Envision can work a little bit of that magic and maybe come in towards the top.
And one last question. Biggest takeaways from this new season? What do you guys think is going to be the real deciding factor, and what do you think is going to be the storyline of the entire season?
I think there's going to be a lot of. I think consistency is the biggest factor here, as I said earlier. Mercedes looking really good, handling both races with relative ease, and I think it's just going to come down to if they can keep performing and keeping that up, they'll just keep doing pretty well and keep up in that podium position. But I do think that hopefully Porsche might just be able to come in a little bit as they're a relatively newcomer to this race. and to the season overall. And I think Porsche, as they start to learn the tracks and stuff, they'll hopefully start to get a little bit better.
I feel like the biggest takeaway for me is ramps. Ramp, like I said, they add a ton of uncertainty, and how you come off a ramp really matters. So you see teams like Mercedes, Venturi, Jaguar, Porsche, they're coming off this ramp really well. They're not hitting it dead on. They're not losing any momentum. They're either staying on the outside or the inside of the ramp, which really helps them in the long run because keeping that momentum is something really important in these races. And then you see teams like Envision who are just hitting the ramp dead on, just like I almost hit my TV. I was really mad. But yeah, I do think that ramps are the biggest takeaway.
All right. Anything you else want to add?
Not at the moment. Just I think a really interesting segment. Thank you so much for having us, and I really think that it's cool to be able to share my views, and I hopefully Trigger thinks the same way, that you can share his views on a platform like this. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think this is going to be a little bit different from our NFL talk, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really grateful, Ethan, for obviously having us on the show, and Ryder for being a good co-host, and Nissan.
Yeah.
Nissan. All right. Thank you guys for being on. So, marble racing. We'll have more updates every single week for you guys. Next up, we have unmainstream sports or weird sports with Mitchell. All right. All right. Welcome Mitchell to the show. How are you doing, Mitchell?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, so these are tough times and life during quarantine is boring sitting at home. So I'm gonna be talking about my top three uncommon sports to try during quarantine. These
All right, let's
sports
hear
are
it.
these sports are not gonna be all that uncommon or exotic, but they do have their own leagues. They're not huge sports, but they are professional. First up, we're going to be talking about Ultimate Tag. Now, Fox plans to premiere their show on Ultimate Tag May 20th. This is going to be co-hosted by three siblings, NFL superstars JJ, TJ, and Derek Watt. Now, you might not be able to do this at home because in this version of Tag, they have parkour, they have obstacle courses, they have all these things, and it's basically a giant game of tag. But there are tag-like games that you can play at home, which are a ton of fun. I know even with my sister, we've played things like hide and seek, manhunt, ghost in the graveyard, all fun games to try and get a little tag action. But before this Ultimate Tag by Fox, there's actually a league. I'm pretty sure it's mainly in Europe. Not sure where it originated,
Yeah, I think so.
but it's the World Chase Tag League. And the previous champion last year was Blacklist. They actually had a really good team. And this is similar to Fox's Tag, but it's basically just metal bars and obstacles. And these guys are insane. They're parkourists. They know what they're doing. And they have a timer and they have to tag each other. And so
Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen this stuff on YouTube. It's really exciting. And
Yeah, it's fun to
Fox
watch.
is any if Fox is anything like that, it'll be really exciting to watch.
Yeah, I'm excited. They have some big names too, I'm pretty sure, entering and are going to be trying it out, which will be really exciting.
All right.
Something fun to look forward to, something fun to try at home.
Yeah. Let's move on to number 2. It's your
Okay,
second one.
so my second sport I think you should try at home. Um, the league is called the AUDL. It's the American Ultimate Disc League. It's basically ultimate frisbee. And now I saw this on, I forget, it was some sports channel I was watching the other day, and I did not think I'd enjoy it as much as I did, but it's a fun sport to watch. It's not just throwing a frisbee. I know there's some moments where they did dive rolls and stuff. And what I was watching mainly, it was the final from last year. This was actually really exciting. Um, it was I'm pretty sure the 2019 finals, and it was who was it? It was the Dallas Roughnecks versus the New York Empire. And this was a big game because the Roughnecks came into the finals at 15-1 on the season. They had a home field advantage, and they had lots of core players with Final Four experiences. So it was really exciting to watch, lots of heated moments, and neither team had too many big wins in the season, only by a few points or touchdowns, whatever you want to call them. But it was a heated battle. I mean, you saw people diving on top of each other, a lot more penalties than you would expect in a match. And a lot of cool people came out. Even Bill Nye the Scientist even came out to watch and do some commentary on it.
Is their 2020 season started yet? When does that start?
Their 2020 season has not started. It has been postponed. I'm not sure if they've picked a date yet to start up, but
That's disappointing.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Dallas Roughnecks and the New York Empire again. The New York Empire has a really strong team. I don't think they've lost too many members, and they are just really exciting to watch. They have some crazy, crazy action. Throwing the frisbee like behind their back over people, dive rolls, catching it. It's fun.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
would have been it would have been fun to watch though during quarantine.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they have some clips up on YouTube and they air it every once in a while. Um, Unfortunately, in our area, the Philadelphia Phoenix, they're not a great team. They went 4-8 last season, but I mean, it's still great to watch and like to see a local
Right,
team competing. It's cool.
right.
Yeah, so like I said, these sports are things to try at home. If you have a frisbee, it's a ton of fun. You can try with a sibling or a parent or whatever, just passing a frisbee, maybe watching some clips, trying some cool action.
Yeah.
You know, I am horrible at throwing a frisbee, but I mean, always get better. They have throws like the what is it? The hammer throw or whatever, where they throw it sideways and then it evens out. Cool things to
Yeah,
try.
I'm not sure how to do that.
I don't know.
I've tried to do it before with a frisbee, but it just does not work out for me.
Yeah, you have to be pretty coordinated to do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, move on to number 3 now. It's
yeah,
your
so
third option for people to do.
our third option, it's more on the weirder side of these sports. It is actually the World Juggling Federation.
Now you're gonna have to explain that one to me. That
Okay,
sounds confusing.
so you wouldn't think juggling could be a competitive sport, right?
Yeah,
Now this league, it's combat juggling. It's cool stuff. So
that is 2 words I never thought I'd hear in the same sentence. Combat juggling. All
yeah,
right, explain that
so
one.
it's 1v1 juggling action. Each person has 3 pins that they're trying to keep in the air. So now what the goal of it is to keep your 3 pins in the air as long as possible. Some people stay away from the other person and try and just keep going longer. But what makes this really exciting is the combat part. So you will see people throwing up one of their pins really high and then whacking the other people's pins out of the air. Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's crazy. So while juggling 3 pins, they try and knock each other's out of the air. It's really cool.
Jeez.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
I've been juggling a few years now. Pretty sure 3 years I've been juggling, and I have a set of juggling pins at home, and it's so hard. I can barely juggle the pins, even though I've been juggling for a while. And so I
Yeah.
can't imagine. I feel like it would be fun to try. I can't get my sister to try it, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, this is one of those really niche sports where if you can juggle well, you can play this.
Yeah,
Combat juggling.
I think
There's
juggling is fun to pick up. Yeah.
Yeah, no kid. It's a fun activity, but the combat into it makes wow.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Just sounds like so much fun to watch too.
Yeah, it is.
These
And
guys.
it's funny, you'll get some of the younger guys going up against the really experienced players, and they'll have their tricks where they like pass it between their legs or they like swipe the other guys. I've even seen like showing off where a guy whacks another guy and then he grabs it and juggles the four pins. It's like
Yeah, these guys. That must be crazy,
some people, yeah, they're really into it.
Yeah.
I would
Any
recommend starting with tennis balls though.
yeah. Any final thoughts before we head off?
Not really. Just like these are fun sports to try, fun to watch, even though you might not think about it. I know that it's a great way to stay in shape instead of just sitting and watching TV. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, Mitchell.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see you most likely next week with another edition of Uncommon Sports.
Oh yeah. Hopefully
All
I
right.
can talk about some more. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. See you, Mitchell.
Bye.
All right. Next up, we have health sports. Not health sports, but a way to stay healthy during quarantine.
Can't
So,
wait to hear about that.
yeah, neither can I. Some really great guys to talk about it.
Hmm.
Now we're going on to our health section. Let's welcome Luke today.
Hello. So today's topic for our health section is how to stay fit during quarantine. So staying healthy has many benefits physically and emotionally. Helps you sleep, quickens your metabolism, and enables you to do more things throughout your day. Or you can enjoy your day more by doing activities you like. For example, I enjoy biking and running and really just anything that helps me break a sweat. So since most of us don't have any access to gyms during this time, and there isn't any athletic training facilities, athletes or not, still needs to maintain their health and fitness so they can get back at it once lockdown is over. This means that we're going to need to be getting creative with how we exercise because just doing a ton of push-ups over and over again is eventually going to get boring, and that isn't the best way to maintain your complete fitness. So athletes will need to maintain their fitness during quarantine by doing workouts that fit the muscle groups that they need for their particular sport. And this is especially true for athletes such as swimmers, such as me, who don't have access to facilities that I would need for everyday training. So we still need to do workouts because after quarantine is over, we can't just go back to our sport and have all of our fitness gone because then we won't be able to perform at the same level that we had before.
All right, Luke, I'm going to ask you a question first. So, as you said, you are a swimmer. So, as a swimmer, what have you been doing to stay in shape?
So a lot of the muscles that I use for swimming, particularly as a distance swimmer, there's a lot of focus on upper body strength in distance swimming. So for example, triceps, I've been doing tricep dips and tricep push-ups. And then I've also been doing dumbbell lat rows, but that is only because I have access to a dumbbell. For lats, if you have a pull-up bar, you could do that. You could do pull-ups for lats, or really the tricep push-ups is just the best thing that you can do to work your triceps and some parts of your back, not your complete back.
And tricep push-ups are those triangle push-ups, correct? Yeah.
Yes, triangle
Okay.
push-ups or just keeping your elbows extremely close to your body.
Okay.
Another thing that endurance athletes need to do is maintain cardio. So I've been attempting to run at least a mile every day, and I'm not the best runner, so I've been kind of struggling with that. But I've also been trying to ride a bike every day, whether it's an indoor training bike or my mountain bike, and going to the trails while
Yeah.
maintaining social distance. So
Yeah. So for me as a baseball player, I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast yet, but I do play baseball. I've just been there aren't many workouts you can do as a baseball player, but I've just been doing push-ups, pull-ups, just to maintain, some strength. What before so when everything does open up again, I can go to the gym and get right back into my routine. I've also been running, even for non-cardio players like baseball. Obviously, it's also important to just keep your heart rate up. Whether you do that by playing basketball outside, playing football outside, or going for a mile run, as Luke said, I feel like it's important to keep your heart rate up.
yes, so cardio is a great way to maintain, like, just maintain your fitness. If you're just doing cardio exercises, that'll maintain your general fitness. So, like, your cardiovascular fitness, it'll help you breathe better, it'll help your lungs, but it's not going to help you with strength training.
Right.
So, that's something that people won't really be able to work on during quarantine is extreme strength training unless you have a home gym. And
Right.
if you have a home gym, I'm a bit jealous, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because
I really wish I did too. If I
I'd
lived really.
love to use all of my excess time to do some strength training while I'm not in the pool.
Right. As would I. All right. What else you have for us for today?
So we I have for you like how you can start to maintain your fitness and kind of create a daily routine and what things are important in a daily routine that helps you create healthy habits. So the goal with this is to create a daily routine now so you make habits that you maintain after the quarantine is over. So you start enhancing your fitness now, but then once we are out of the lockdown, it can really start to progress and you can see amazing results.
Yeah.
So one of the most important things is sticking to a sleep schedule. When you're working from home or you're doing school from home, there isn't really an incentive to go to bed early so you can wake up early the next morning. But that is still important. I'm not saying that like you can't just like on a weekend like you normally would stay up until 11 or 12 and then sleep in because you don't have anything the next day. But during the week, you should definitely be trying to make an effort to go to bed early. And I've been setting alarms for 7, which is still late for a school day. But that's
Mm.
so I can wake up, work out, and then get going on my homework.
Yeah.
And then another habit to make is just trying to do the same exercise every day. So, for example, I've been running a mile every day. So that's just creating a habit. So you're maintaining that fitness every single day. So you know, today I'm going to wake up and I'm going to run a mile. So then you are creating that habit. So eventually, once the gyms reopen, you can wake up and go to the gym every single day. So that's another thing.
Yeah. What you're talking. Correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm getting from you, what you're talking about the main theme is in this hectic time, you really got to keep a routine, whether it's your sleep schedule, an exercise routine, however basic that is. You really just buckle down. You got to get some kind of normalcy in this hectic quarantine and life that we have right now. Correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like it's just creating healthy habits right now, because especially when the pantry and the refrigerator are only like 5
Hmm.
steps away from you,
Yeah.
it's tempting to go and get a bunch of junk food, even though that's not really the best choice.
Right.
So it's good to create healthy habits right now, because that rigor will stick with you for quite a while.
All right.
So,
While we're talking about the exercise and stuff, why don't you tell our viewers about the part one of our workout of the week? Luke will be presenting these every single week, so tune in and get what our experts have to say on this. All right, what's your workout of the week, Luke?
so this workout of the week is a core workout that I received from my friend Kyle, who is helping me with the health segment. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here for today. It is 3 rounds of all of these workouts, which our editors will put up on the screen.
Yep.
And feel free to modify as you need, because this is an extremely hard ab workout. So it is 15 jackknives to 6 inches, 30 frog crunches, 50 Russian twists, a minute and a half of a left side plank, a minute and a half of a right side plank, a minute and 15 seconds of a forearm plank, and then another 5 jackknives to 6 inch. And then you'll rest 45 seconds in between rounds, and you might not be able to get out of bed the next day because of how much your abs hurt.
Yeah. You don't need to get out of your bed right now, so you might
Yeah.
as well try this workout.
Mm-hmm.
Any final thoughts before you go?
Yeah. Adding on to this entire ab workout, I've been talking a lot about maintaining your cardio, and that you can't really build strength. You can still maintain your strength by doing body weight workouts. So I've been doing a ton of body weight workouts. There was one workout that I did the other day that was absolutely killer. It was a ladder with burpees and squats and running in between each set. So that was very challenging. And that brings me to my next point. Adding cardio to body weight strength training is amazing. It gives you an active recovery, so you can get your heart rate up in between the times when you're really working your muscles. And one other thing with body weight training is, since you don't have any weight, unless you have something such as a weight vest or a chain that you could put on yourself to add that extra weight, you can do a lot more reps. So it's not like you're just going to the gym and you're going to be doing like 3 sets of 5 bench presses. You could do 3 sets of 20 push-ups, because there isn't that extra weight there to help build muscle. So you can, or build muscular strength, so you can use those extra reps to build muscular endurance.
All right. Thank you for that, Luke. I think that's all you have, correct?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for being here this week. Um, ev- Tune in next week for Luke's next health advice and his second workout of the week. All right. Next up on the schedule, we have esports with Shosh. We're back with our last segment today, esports with Shosh. What's up, Shosh?
Hi, Ethan. Thanks for having me.
Yep, no problem. So what are you going to talk about today?
Today we're talking about two video games, the ones that I majorly play, Rainbow Six Siege and Rocket League. So there's some interesting news going on with Rainbow Six Siege. They recently just canceled their Pro League tournament, which is the tournament we all know and love that's always been happening, the most famous tournament in Siege.
Yep.
Canceled it and replaced it with the North American League. This league now has two divisions, one for Canada and one for America. And it's just going to be interesting seeing all the new aspects we're going to be seeing. It's going to be a little different than the standard pro league we're used to, and it's going to have a different team roster than most of the teams we're used to seeing.
Do you know when this is going to start? When this
Yeah,
tournament's gonna
it's
start?
starting around June, near the beginning of
okay.
June.
So it's something to watch during quarantine. This would be like one thing going on, right?
Yeah, this is something I'll keep you on your toes during quarantine. It'll be interesting to see with all these new teams coming in how the tides turn, how it's gonna just play out for everyone.
Right. Who do you think who's your favorite to win the tournament right now?
Well, my favorite, my not favorite, but who I think would
Yeah, who do
probably
you think's
win
gonna
this
win?
tournament is Space Station Gaming. They've previously won the Pro League tournaments, and they are one of the teams that did happen to make it into the North American League roster. A few teams that we're used to seeing, you won't be seeing on the roster, like Rogue and other teams. Big controversy about going around about this tournament is they didn't give reserve spots for all the teams that were previously reserved in Pro League. They did not reserve their spots for this new league they just announced.
So what you're
So
saying is
there's a lot
that
of controversy.
so you're saying is these guys who worked so hard to get actually into the league, they have to restart?
Yeah,
Oh
they're
my god.
they're starting all the way from the beginning. Might even have to do the Challenger League, which is a new thing about this tournament. The Challenger League, which is interesting. Anyone, even you or me, can make a five stack team and go up the stages into maybe even competing with these pro level teams. It's a tournament that starts a bit before June, and what it's just anyone, any random guy, people that are playing the game, they get a chance to face these pros. If they were able to win the challenger thing, they'll be put into the North American League as a team.
That's cool. That's a good way to get some of these guys to get noticed. Maybe they haven't had their chance yet. It's a good idea.
Yeah, and
Alright.
that's one of the big ups about the North American League that we're seeing.
Mhm.
Downfall is, of course, all these new teams that we're not so used to seeing, and all
Yeah.
the teams that we love to see that might not be in the tournament.
Yeah. Right. What about Rocket League?
So Rocket League has been all over the place during quarantine. ESPN's all over it. They need
Right.
some new content. So ESPN and Rocket League, they partnered up to make the spring series, which happened maybe a week ago, I think.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's yeah. If you watched that, that was pretty nice tournament to watch. Uh, broadcasted live on ESPN. It was pretty up and down. I think the finalists were NRG and G2, and yeah, they were NRG and G2, and NRG did lose in the regular bracket, but they climbed their way back up during the losers bracket, got back to the finals, but G2 was already dominating that tournament, so they beat them 4-0. Wasn't even a question.
4-0.
Yeah, wasn't even a
NRG
question.
consists of Justin, Garrett G, and Turbo Pulsar, correct?
Um, yes, I'm pretty sure there might have been some changes to the team roster all because of Corona and stuff, but I'm pretty
Right.
sure, yeah, that was what was the team roster.
Okay, yeah. It's kind of surprising. They were most likely the favorites going in.
Yeah, they
seeing as
were
they were the world
definitely.
champions.
Yeah, they were the favorites. Everyone was rooting for Justin. He's the prodigy everyone knows and
Right.
loves.
Hmm.
The guy who makes those 0-second goals. He's the guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was not a question. G2 destroyed that tournament. Every team. There was not a single game they played where it wasn't more than a 1 point difference. It was always 4-1, 4-0, 3-1. No close games.
Yeah. Wow. It's surprising.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, those were my majorly. Those were the two games I really wanted to talk about. Only thing I can see is Siege. I don't know if I said this, but it's happening in Las Vegas, so it's not going to be an online tournament, which is kind of
Uh-oh.
concerning due to all this Corona stuff and stuff thing.
Yeah.
It's actually going to be taking place in a venue, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad. Good, maybe we're getting out of this Corona stuff, but definitely not the kind of stuff we want to see, like knowing all these social distancing rules. I don't know how they're going to work through that. It'll be interesting to see how everyone's spaced out, how it would work, and if
Yeah.
social distance is even a thing then. But
Yeah. When you said North American League, because they canceled the pro tournament, I was thinking that they did this so they could do it online and have
yeah,
it on the same
no,
server.
this is a whole new pro league. This is replaces pro league completely. That's
yeah.
not coming back. This is a whole new system.
All right. Thank you, Josh, for being here. We'll hopefully have you on
Thanks for
next
having me.
week for another segment.
Yep.
All right. That concludes this week's Ethan Lemler Talk Show. Tune in next week for more segments and the same segments you saw here today. All right. From everybody here at Ethan Lemler Podcast Show. See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.